Friendships never go out of style.
Oh, you're the best friend anybody's ever had, and it's funny, but I feel as if I've known you all this time, but I couldn't have, could I? If you're not over here in 15 minutes, you can find a new best friend. Welcome to the Best Friends Playbook podcast
With your hosts, Crystal
and Allie.
We've known each other for over 27 years, and we're here to share our wisdom on friendships in film, TV, and literature.
Grab some coffee, our favorite, and get cozy. Are you a knock?
What? Oh God, I hate Boston accents. Don't even go there with me.
I know, but we always pick like a line from the movie we just watched. That was my favorite one. Are you a knock? I had like never seen that scene. I had only heard about it for like all the years that the movie's been out. So like finally getting to experience it was really exciting.
Wait, you've never seen this movie, right?
No.
Oh, okay. So did you like it? I
Oh
think
yes.
it was funny.
There's only one issue that I have with the movie. Otherwise, I think like all of it's fantastic.
It's cute. I mean, it's like
Yeah.
oh God, what was I gonna say? It was like one of those earlier movies for like Melissa McCarthy's movie career, and I always thought it was a good one. I think her and Sandra Bullock are a good little duo. Okay, I love Melissa McCarthy. Have you seen her Instagram like videos her and her husband do during quarantine?
Oh, they're so cute. Her and her husband are hilarious. Which, by the way, when her husband comes and hits on her in the bar in the heat, and then just like makes out with him, and she's like, "Why didn't he get the hint that it's just over?"
So funny. Most
I
people
like
don't realize that that's
her husband. Yeah, they're super cute together.
yeah.
So yeah, today we are talking about The Heat with Melissa McCarthy and Sandra Bullock.
Yeah.
I have to look up their actual character names because I did what you did normally, where you just say the actor's name in your notes.
Oh, I got it. After the first like minute or two, I figured it out. Sandy B is Ashburn because they call them by their last names, because
Yeah.
they're. And then McCarthy is Mullins.
Mullins. Okay.
For him. Yeah.
So yeah, this was a good one. I felt like it was a very good movie for an example of like meeting someone and when you're forced in a situation you can't get out of, and then you just end up becoming friends because of the circumstances.
Yeah, I always like a movie like this where they like really don't like each other in the beginning because that's usually how I feel like it goes in life. At least my experience with it is I usually am either like don't connect with the person or I'm like really afraid of them or something. And so it's pretty accurate to my life.
Especially because this was also like another work friendship. I'm kind of seeing a pattern here with movies. Put people together that don't want to work together and see if they create a relationship.
Yeah.
But I feel like that is how a lot of work friendships happen, is that you're with someone 24/7, and you might even hate them based on first impression, but due to just like being together, being in like the daily grind of it, you start to actually see like that this person's really good at their job, and you do have your flaws, and maybe you can learn stuff from each other. Even
Yeah.
though by the end I felt like Melissa did not change at all, and this whole film was about Sandra Bullock's character going through an arc.
That's true, I guess. I didn't really think about that, but yeah, it's really Sandy B. That's
Yeah, the only thing that really changed is that um, Melissa's character, Mullins, she tends to more try and like push people away. Like she just likes to have a one night stand with them and like do everything alone. Versus like Ashburn didn't want to be alone, but she kept pushing people away because she just kept like being herself to like times 100
yeah.
and making people feel shitty. So I feel like at least Melissa finally let someone into her life, and
Yeah.
then
I'd
like
also say that Melissa, like, the only like real thing that changed in her life was her relationship with her family because
yeah.
they, like hated her in the beginning because she sent her brother to prison to keep him from like getting involved with the drug guy,
Mhm.
Simon Larkin or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, and her family like really resented her for that. And by the end, they come full circle, and she saved him and whatever, and then they like her again. Her family is so fucking funny, by the way. Like, It's terrible to watch. I'm like, I'm so glad my family's not like that.
Yeah.
But yeah. I do like how like polar opposite they are in the beginning as far as like Sandy B is very, you know, follows all the rules. Everybody hates her, but she's like really good at her job. And Melissa McCarthy is like total opposite. She's like, fuck everybody, fuck the rules. I work alone, you know. So I like how opposite they are because I feel like that always complements each other.
Yeah, and I made the note that because they're so different, like, they ended up learning a lot from each other.
Mm.
And also because it pointed out, the way that Ashburn acts, that's why she's forced to even team up with Mullins in the first place.
Yeah.
So, they're forced into this situation. And I think Mullins, because she realizes her brother is somewhat involved, that's why she becomes invested and doesn't want to get off the case. So I feel like we have a good setup here for why these two, like, they're gonna stick with each other even if they hate each other in the beginning.
Yeah, and I really like the commentary in the movie about like two women that are in like a man's profession and
Mhm.
dealing with that because like Sandy is just like super arrogant and competitive and that makes all the other dudes on her like task force hate her, which I think is ridiculous because if it was a guy that was like that, nobody would fucking feel that way. So,
Yeah.
and even on the PD because they don't like Mullins because she does what she wants and she says "fuck you" to everybody and blah blah and "don't touch my perp" whatever.
I was dying when they're in her boss's office and
Just looking for the
Ashburn's
ball.
like, "What is she doing?" She's
Yeah,
looking for eyeballs.
I know. It's like so awesome. And when they're like, "Oh, sorry, you can't talk to her, you can't question her like prisoner," and she gets so fucking pissed because she like touched her prisoner. It's like so funny.
Yeah,
But I hate that. I hate that like men, I don't know, don't like strong women in those kind of
yeah.
professions. It's like you have to be a strong woman to even be in that profession. So why the fuck are you creating such a double standard?
Yeah, exactly. So, like, it was interesting how, like, Muellen's, like, whole police force was, like, kind of afraid of her, and then
But would also make fun of
or
her
the
behind her back.
yeah, and they also just didn't wanna deal with her,
Yeah.
and then Ashburn, everyone just hated her, no one wanted to work with her.
Mhm.
They were both the best in their field.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
That'd be a lesson to you boys.
yeah, I feel like the first moment they bonded, it only lasted for, like, 10 seconds. It was when Mullins shows Ashburn her, I like to call it her artillery fridge.
Yeah, that's like when yes, that was like their first bonding moment.
But it
Yeah.
was very short because, Ashburn got really excited that she saw an old grenade, but she touched it and it could have been explosive. She's just
Yeah.
like, "Put it down."
Put that away.
Yeah,
Slower, like half that speed.
don't know half that speed. Stop shaking. Put your pinky down. Um,
But I do like that their first, like, encounter is just, like, such a terrible experience, and it
mhm,
just, like, makes Mullins hate her because she, like, takes her parking spot, and then she takes her
mhm.
perp, and then she, has to, like, park in between those 2 cars, and she can't get out of it, and it's just, like it's so funny
That
how
was
much she hates
ridiculous
her when she
when
walks
she
in.
couldn't get out of her car.
Yeah.
Um Um, so and then through this, we also realized that this is gonna be hard for me, that Ashburn and Mullins are both loners,
Yeah.
and they're forced to work together. So I think that's really funny.
And
Um,
it's not even like they're just loners, I mean, yes, they're loners at work, but even, like, in their
in life,
personal
yeah.
life, right? Like,
Mhm,
Ashburn is, you don't find out till way later, is or was in the foster system, so she doesn't have a family, and then Mullins, obviously, her family has kind of, like, abandoned her for the time being because of the thing that happened with her brother, so they really are, like, alone in both life and work, which is messed
yeah,
up. But that's how
exactly.
they find each other, right? So
Yeah. So, let me see. My notes pretty much just jump to like the night they have like it's not really a stakeout, but they're going to the club so they can plant the what's it called? To listen the it is to plant a bug on his phone. I said the word. Um and it's funny because Sandra actually Ashburn tries to connect in the moment. She's like, "So, we should, like, share some stuff about ourselves." And Mullins is like, "No, no, we're not gonna fucking do this."
A bond.
Yeah, and so I actually loved that because it showed how much Ashburn, like, really wants to connect and have people in her life. Um, and so she did make a huge effort there, which is, like, hard for her. She just doesn't do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I did like that, and then I feel like after that is when she, like, really finds out about her brother, right? Like,
Yeah.
after that whole
Until they
incident.
run into the DEA. But I'm sorry, when they're in the bathroom fixing up Ashburn's clothes, where the fuck did those scissors come from? That's all I could think about in that goddamn scene. Where the fuck did the scissors come from?
It was funny though, I like that, like, they made her look so trashy, like, so easily.
It was hilarious.
Mhm.
But that's all I could think about. Where did those scissors come from?
Yeah. She pulled them out of her ass. Just kidding. She probably had, like, a utility belt under there somewhere.
Yeah, it's the only thing I could think of. I mean, especially since they showed off her artillery fridge, so, like, it must be, but I was like, "What is going on?"
I do feel like, early on though, like, earlier than that, they when they're working together, they, like, have already almost created this bond or, like, understanding where they pick up on each other's signals because 'cause they're, like, at Tatiana's apartment, which happens to be the same building that Mullins lives in, and
Mhm.
they're, like, talking to her about, where does she get the drugs because she's, like, a supplier or something, and, Mullins, like, hints about the cigarette, like, there's a cigarette in that thing that doesn't have
Yeah,
lipstick on it.
she, like, purposely, like, slides it across the table as if it's in her way.
Yeah, and she, like, hints at it, and then Sandy B, like or Ashburn immediately, like, picks up on it, and they, like, do this little thing and so that she can get it, and it's just cool to see that they, like, have already, learned how to read each other's signals and are working together and, so
Yeah, and I felt like that was a good moment of showing that both of their tactics, like, Ashburn being kind of like, standoffish and wanting to do everything by the book, and then Mullins being, like, chaotic, it really showed that those 2 things are necessary for them to balance, like, as a team.
Mhm.
And they didn't even realize they were working as a team when it happened because, Ashburn just thought Mullins was being, like, freaking crazy.
Yeah. And then I like that Mullins felt, like, comfortable enough with her to be like, "Oh, yeah, I gotta go wash my hands. This is my apartment, like, come in, you can have my old sandwich," and things like that. Like
And it's so funny because, like, 1, I love, like, how she needed to sanitize in that moment, and then 2, just because of the times that we're living in right now, it was cracking me up.
wait, what? Oh, because yeah, because you didn't wash your hands. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, so it was I loved that moment, seeing them work as a team without them even realizing it, which I thought was a good sign of showing that, like, they work great together.
Yeah, and then they can, like, read each other not read each other's minds, but, that kind of picking up on each other's instincts and senses, which is always good for a partner. Even though, like, in reality, by the way, they can't really ever be partners again because, like, I understand the principles behind this movie, but, like, this never fucking happens in real life where it's like an FBI and a PD.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, they, yeah, even though it showed them in the end credits working together, but yeah, that's not a thing.
I will
Yeah.
also say though that I really like that or not really like, but I found it really funny that, like, they're so polar opposites when it comes to men too. Like, here's Melissa McCarthy, who's, like, obviously the less attractive of the 2, let's be honest, and she is, like, killing it with dudes. She's like, "I fuck anybody I want, blah, blah, blah," and, like, she has them, like, crawling all over her all the time, like, "Oh, why didn't you call me back?" She's like, "Dude, you it's not you, it's me, whatever." Like, keep going, but, like, Melissa McCarthy can't or not Melissa McCarthy,
Ashburn.
Ashford can't, like, pick up on the fact that, like, one guy in her office, like, likes her, and Mullins has to, like, constantly try and help her, but she's just totally oblivious,
Yeah,
and she
and I think
jokes constantly that she needs to get laid, which is true.
yeah. I think that goes to show that, like, Mullins has a lot of confidence, and that's something that later Ashburn learns to get from her.
Yeah, that's true. Because I mean, she's, like I would say Ashburn is really confident in her job and like, the work aspect, but in her obviously her sexuality, she's not. So
Yeah.
whereas
um
Mullins is like, I'm fucking sexy as hell.
he's
you
like,
know?
no, we don't got to change anything because when it just moves, it just happens.
Yeah. I do really love that, in all Melissa McCarthy movies, like, her husband is always, like, has this, like usually not a huge role, but a little role, and sometimes they, like, straight up hate each other, like, I can't remember, but there was a movie I watched recently with her in it, and they just, like, fucking fight and hate each other. Oh, it was, I know what it is. It's, we did it. Bridesmaids.
Oh,
She's, like,
that's right. Yeah.
they just, like, fucking hate each other in the beginning, and then obviously by the end that's changed, but yeah, and this one, it's totally different. He's, like, all into her, and then she makes out with him. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that they always give him a cameo. But I'm gonna go ahead and really jump to, so after the club scene, when they run into the DEA and they're saying like, you ruined everything for us, and like that,
That albino
I
guy.
know. He's we don't later discover, but obviously we know he's like super misogynistic. I
Mhm.
love that the moment he attacks Ashburn, like Mullins doesn't even hesitate for a second to defend her.
Yeah. Yes,
So
I
I,
do.
so I feel like even though like she finds her really annoying, she's already starting to like have her back, which was like a good sign, like because your friends have your back in friendships.
Mhm.
Um,
I think it's important for women in the workplace too as well, like,
mhm.
as far as in a job, especially a job like that.
Yeah, they gotta stick together when there's so few of them.
Yeah.
Which then leads me to, so like obviously we know Ashburn doesn't know how to say anything properly. So then when she finds out about her brother and says like, oh, putting him in prison probably made his drug habit worse. When Mullins comes over the next day and she makes fun of her and she's like, okay, I got you back. I'm over this. And I felt like that's kind of like a very friend thing to do because she
Yeah.
didn't cut her deep. She just like messed with her a little bit.
Yeah.
But then it was hilarious how she thought that Ashburn's cat ran away. So she said the cat was an asshole. And then she goes and gives her a hug to comfort her.
Yeah, and she's like, you could tell she's very uncomfortable with that.
Yeah, but I just was like, this was like interesting because like she's actually opening up to someone and being there for someone versus like with all these guys, she just like spends the night with them. So she clearly keeps herself closed off and she's only close to her family. And I wonder maybe if like because she like burned her family by putting her brother in jail, she's just made it that she doesn't want to get close to anyone. So it is interesting that like she's starting to open up to Ashburn and like wanting to have like a connection with her.
Yeah, and then I feel like that leads to when they interrogate the bad guys and get in trouble because they, like,
Hmm.
fucked up the mission or whatever, and
Yeah.
Ashburn gets in, like, big trouble with her boss, and you can
Hmm.
tell she's, like, never had that experience before because she takes it so bad, and then Mullins is like, "Come on, we're gonna go to the bar, we're gonna get shit-faced," and they go and have that, like, epic scene of just drinking the entire night to the morning and just getting, like, so shit-faced that I don't even know how they operate the next day because I would be, like, probably hospitalized based on that.
Yeah, that whole scene was magnificent, but also making me cringe because like thinking about hangovers is just awful.
I swear to God, it just gets worse and worse the older you get because I used to be able to go all night like that, and, obviously you gotta sleep it off or whatever, but it wouldn't be quite as terrible the next day as, like, now when I have 2 or 3 glasses of wine and I feel like shit the next day and I don't even wanna work out or anything, and
You're like out of commission for like 2 days because you like are still hungover the whole day, and then the next day you gotta like sleep it off.
yeah, I feel like it
Yeah.
started, like, mid to late 20s 'cause I'm about to turn 30 this year, and it's just, like, gotten worse and worse.
Yeah.
Hate it.
It's yeah, so that scene was
I don't know how they function
magnificent.
after that is my
Yeah.
point, like,
Well,
hello?
I think for like some people, like with Mullen's character, because she just like conditioned her body that way,
Yeah,
that
she's
that's all her body knew.
Yeah, she's hardcore. She clearly has a tolerance. But what's her face? I mean, she obviously Ashburn did fall asleep, so she did sleep some of it off. But at the same time, like I would probably be in a toilet throwing up instead of like
Yeah.
actively going and getting Mullins. Don't they like go to get Mullins' family or something after that?
Well, they have to because the car that Ashburn gave away blew up.
Yeah, and then they
So
got the
I
email.
think that might sober me up.
Maybe I don't know. My body does not recover well.
Yeah. Um,
But yeah,
but let me see.
he was
Oh,
amazing.
so I just want to jump back really quick. So like we sort of talked about how like Ashburn's coworker is obviously like hitting on her off and on.
Hmm.
And so when they find out, this might actually be after they take care of her. No, I don't know. But every time that coworker hits on Ashburn, Mullins teases her, and more after time, Ashburn becomes like less annoyed with the teasing and she just tries to like cover it up, which
Hmm.
I feel like is a sign of like them becoming more used to each other and like the teasing doesn't bother her. Like she likes it because there's someone else in her life finally. I don't
Yeah,
know. It's just those just little moments are cute.
starting to get used to it, and even
Yeah.
probably tease her back, but she doesn't really know how to do that kind of stuff yet.
Yeah. And then also like before they go into the interrogation room, they have a conversation and they don't actually bicker. And Mullins agrees that she'll do what Ashburn wants. So she's obviously lying, but like I thought it was a good sign that they were arguing less.
Wait, who are they interrogating? I don't remember.
It was the guy that they got from the warehouse. The white guy who's like second in charge.
The
She
albino guy?
no. He's one of like the drug guys
Oh, the one that they
and
think is Simon Larkin.
yeah, and they're holding and Mullins holding a gun to his balls.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. Um, and during like in the first interrogation scene, they're like karate chop fighting each other.
Mhm.
And in this one, Ashburn just accepts that Mullen is going crazy and goes and hides in the corner. So I
As
feel
a
like
cop.
yeah, they're making progress in this relationship. They're bickering as like less about the job and more bickering about like how Ashburn wears her hair and her personal appearance.
Yeah.
So these might be like minor minute details, but I noticed them.
And I think it's I can't remember if this is before or after that, but when they go to like kind of gather Mullen's family and
Yeah.
take them away, it's like cute that Ashburn is even helping her with that, right? Because
Yeah.
I mean, like besides driving the fucking car, like what is she really? What's the point, right? She's helping her because she's her friend, and
Yeah, like she's also breaking rules. So
yeah.
that's also so she's finally putting because so let's go back to the bar scene when they're getting drunk. Ashburn talks about how like she left her husband because her husband didn't understand how important the job was.
Oh, I forgot she was married. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And then also we find out that Ashburn was a foster kid. And so she's always been lonely. And so I feel like her deciding to like Mullins asks her, like, please can we take care of my family and not deal with the FBI? Like, I want to do this. Like, and so by Ashburn agreeing to do that, like you said, she's supporting her friend and she's putting a friend, like a personal relationship before her job.
Hmm. And it's just like cute. Like she didn't have to do any of that, you know.
Yeah.
So I did.
Um, but I feel like she relapsed a little bit when she keeps telling Mullins that she wants her brother to like go undercover for them.
Yeah, that's like a big tension point, obviously, because Mullins does not want her brother in any of that. That's the whole reason she put him away. And um, Ashburn's just like slowly trying to get her to like agree to have him do little things here and there, but don't worry, I promise he'll be safe, kind of thing.
Hmm.
And that all kind of leads up to when obviously the people do attack her brother, put him in a coma,
Hmm.
and that's when Mullins is just like, "I'm done. We're done. We're not partners
Hmm.
anymore." Um, She feels like, betrayed, obviously, because she
Yeah,
wanted to keep her brother safe and she couldn't.
yeah, and especially because the tip that her brother gave them ended up leading to nowhere, so then the whole thing was pointless. So not only now does Ashburn have her boss disappointed with her, this one person she was, like, just starting to get close to, like, straight up says, like, "I'm disappointed in you," which I think is, in anyone's life, worse than, like, "I hate you," or "You're an idiot," or "You screwed this up." Like, disappointment is a big deal.
Yeah, and it's way more serious than just it's way more serious than just like getting in trouble or just like having somebody be disappointed in you because like her brother almost dies, it's
Mhm.
way more of a serious situation and a serious kind of turn of events. So my dogs are clawing at the
They're
door.
just like, "We wanna be a part of the podcast. We had so much to say last time." Yeah, sorry guys, they're very
Like,
vocal on Mean Girls. They've clearly dealt with their handful of Mean Girls and just wanted to share it with us.
yes, they're in isolation right now, so that doesn't
Yeah,
happen. So
exactly.
yeah,
Um, it's all good. So then that leads us to, they're now like, Ashburn's kicked off the case, and Mullins is working on it by herself because she tells Ashburn, "I should have just been doing this alone the whole time," which is like another hint of um Mullins actually wants to be a loner because she feels that like she's the only one who can do the job right, and she can't trust people, so she's been burned, which is why I think she chooses to be alone, versus like Ashburn has just always been alone.
yeah, and I feel like she just thinks I don't know, I feel like this is a lot of people though.
Mhm.
I always talk about it at work, like delegation, right?
Mhm.
Uh, a lot of people have a very hard time if they are higher up delegating because they think that they can get it done better than anybody else, which is kind of like
Mhm.
how Mullins is operating in this sense, right? Like
Yeah.
Ashburn didn't do what she said. So she failed her, and I'm like, "Fuck it, I'll just do it myself. I can get it done, nobody else can." And
Yeah.
Ashburn, like, picks up her shit and she's, like, leaving, but then what I like is that when she's leaving that office is when, the PD is in a meeting and they make fun of, Mullins, and she sticks up for her. She's like, "That
Mhm.
chick has more balls than I don't know what she says, but something like
It's dick shit fuck.
yes, and then that's when she, like, curses her the first time, but yeah, but
She has Tourette's in that moment.
yeah, but she does say something like she has more balls or more whatever than all of you guys, and she gets more shit done or something. She sticks up for her, and that was like cute.
Yeah. I think
And
that
by the
was,
way, what kind of fucking assholes do that in a meeting? So they can go
yeah,
themselves.
yeah, so I thought that was a big deal. Yeah, because she finally stood up for someone. Her boss also like smirks, and I think in that moment he likes her because one, she's sticking up for a person. She's finally acting like a normal human and cursing, and
Mhm.
also just like being an actual person and like showing some initiative. So I feel like that was a big turning moment for Ashburn. But this is where my one issue is. So after that scene, it cuts to Mullins busting into someone's house, and then another guy is behind her with a gun to her head.
Yeah,
And then all of a sudden, Ashburn is fine, just happens to show up
yeah,
and saves her. And then they just immediately go back to working together. And I just felt like that, like technical movie storytelling wise, even in real life, like that wasn't a strong enough reason for all of a sudden for Mullins to be like, okay, I trust you again. We can work together again. Like the only thing I could really rip out of that was that they'd had enough time apart to realize they miss each other and they work together as a team. But it
yeah,
was just like, it kind of bothered me that they just like immediately went back together and cut to like this montage of them like doing shit together.
yeah. I mean, I feel like they would have to have like a really more in-depth talk before they got
Yeah.
together that easily.
I feel like
Obviously,
that.
it's grateful that she saved her, but
Yeah, I feel like that moment happened later when they get caught, um, trying to bust the drug guys, and she has the knife in her leg, and then she like compliments her, which sounds like an apology. And I'm like, that moment should have happened earlier. So
Yeah.
I just feel like it doesn't quite make sense why Ashburn would or why Mullins would forgive Ashburn so quickly.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, it was my only issue that I'm like, Um, but so after that, um,
But I do like that, like, after that moment, they are, like, kicking ass and cleaning
yes.
up and just, like, slowly getting closer and closer and clearly doing more than anybody else on their fucking task
Yeah.
force is, so
Yeah. And we also noticed that Ashburn is loosening up and starting to do more things that Mullins would do.
cussing, not playing by the rules.
Holding someone upside down for information.
Yeah, that's so funny. That little
Then
voice.
they drop him.
Yeah.
Um, and then before they go into the warehouse,
Mhm.
um, they say they got to gear up. And then we realized later that they devised a plan, which was that they were going to, if they got caught, they would toss the bag to the
Yeah.
guy and have the grenade go off. So I liked that we finally saw these two working together as a team
Mhm.
and like trying to make sure they planned ahead versus going in and being like, no, I want to do my idea. No, let's do my idea.
Yeah.
Like they're finally connecting together.
Yeah, I liked that, and I liked in the warehouse, they do get after the grenade goes off, they do still get, like, caught,
Hmm.
and Ashburn gets the knife in her leg, and then, of course, like, during that whole situation is when she, like, finally tells Mullins, like, "Hey, you are really smart and talented, and you're right, and I'm sorry," or whatever she says, and they kind of, like, make up, like you said,
Yeah.
but
So
it
that
was nice
was,
to see her, like, open up more.
yeah, that was a good moment. It was really nasty though after she took the knife out, cut her rope, and then stuck the dirty knife back in her leg.
And it wasn't even once, it was like a jab, and then she just had to, like, put it in. I was like, "Oh god."
Yeah, all I could think about was like where that knife had been. I was like, oh.
I know.
Um,
Oyster shucking knife.
yeah. But and it's funny too, because like when she's trying to cut her rope, they're still bickering. But I
Mhm.
feel like their bickering has now become like a charm of their friendship, and it's not about them hating each other. It's just what they do.
Yeah.
And then so after they get in, like they find out who the DEA guy is, and it was the other guy and not the albino.
Yeah.
um,
Have a rat in the force. Yeah.
yeah. And then it was really these are like little moments, but I feel like these continue to show that like Mullins really does care about Ashburn. Is like Ashburn does the headbutt and she's like, "Oh my god, are you okay? Are you okay? That's gonna hurt later." Like
That was really
she's
dumb. That's
yeah, she's
yeah.
like checking on her face and her health. And those are just really like cute moments of
Yep.
really showing that like they care about each other.
Let that be a learning lesson for people. They always teach that in women's self-defense. Don't ever headbutt unless you have to, because 9 times out of 10, you're gonna black out too.
Yeah, you will give yourself a concussion.
It just does not feel good. It's never like it is in the movies. Like,
No.
that should never be your first option if you have another one, but
Exactly.
I do like that like, Mullins actually saves her. She, like, cuts her ropes or whatever and
Hmm.
her out, and yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, and then when they, like, go to the hospital later,
Hmm.
I don't remember what happens before that in the hospital, but when, like, they finally put her on a gurney, Ashburn, because her leg's so fucked up,
Yeah.
they, like, wheel her back and they're like, "Well, you can't, come with her, you gotta stay here," and she's like, "I'll be right here waiting for you," you know?
Yeah, she's, like, all sad they're being separated.
Yeah.
So right before that, it goes back to the other FBI agent who has a crush on Ashburn,
Oh, yeah, yes, that's right.
and Mullen sees her coming, and she, like, fixes up her boobs for
Boot,
her.
like, makes her lay like this. Like
Yeah, I thought that was really cute. Also right before that, when they finally take out the rat, the DEA rat,
mhm.
um,
Sign
Ashburn comes, like, sliding in with her broken legs,
Oh,
and
yeah, that's what happens in the hospital. I was like, "This
yeah.
is important that happens there." Yes,
She
'cause
shoots
that's
him
why
in
they're
the
brought there.
yeah, she shoots him in the balls, and, Mullins is like, "Why did you do that? Like, I never actually shoot them."
Yeah,
And then Ashburn's
right.
like, "Are you gonna make me feel bad now?" And she's like, "No, no," and she, like, pulls her up to, like, rest her leg and holds her head, And she's like, "You saved my brother, buddy." And she starts calling her buddy. This is like, I think, the second time we've heard her say this.
Does she?
Um, yeah. She starts calling her buddy. It's really cute.
That is cute.
So I think these are just like more small, like micro moments of like um Mulan's really coming to like care about her as a friend.
That's cute. I'm all
Yeah.
for shooting the guy in the balls, that's fine.
Right?
I mean, I don't know. I guess he lives, right? That must be like
Yeah, he only gets shot in the balls. I'm sure he's fine.
yeah, so they must have had to keep him alive or something, because otherwise
Yeah.
they just, like, shot and killed him, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, um, so, like, at the end there's, like, 2 scenes at the end that I think are,
Yes.
like, really cute, right? So, like,
Mhm.
Ashburn decides to stay in Boston at, like, that field office, which, by the way, I don't think you, like, even have any control over those kind of things in the FBI, but it's a movie, so I'll let that go. But,
Exactly.
but she gets, like or, Mullen says, like, "Hey, I sent you something," and it's, like, her yearbook that she, like, stole and mailed back to her, and she had written
Yeah.
and it's cute because she writes, "Foster kid, now you have a sister," and I thought that was really cute because they're, like obviously, they're that good of friends where she considers her a sister now.
I know it makes me emotional even when I hear it a second time.
And she, like and Mullins doesn't have any sisters, she only has brothers, and then
Yeah.
brothers have, like, these really slutty, obnoxious girlfriends, so this
Mhm.
girl is, like, clearly way closer, way more like her, so it's
And
cute.
I was really happy that for this being such a buddy movie and like two opposite cops being forced to work together that like are lonely, they actually worked hard to like have them have a deep connection. And I
Mhm.
felt like their sisterhood was really earned at the end.
Yeah, it was cute, and then after the, like, credits start and they come back and it's like Mullins went and stole the cat for her.
Good kitty. That's not your fucking cat, is it?
No,
No.
it's so cute. I was like, "Oh, that's adorable, though." She drove all the way up to New Jersey, looked around
Mhm.
for her cat, like, that's true love right there, like, I mean, I don't know who I would
Mhm.
do that for, but that's good friendship, so
Yeah, so yeah, I really liked this movie. I feel like it was a good pick on your part for sure. And I just felt like it was a really good example of two people coming together, polar opposites, which because of that, you just immediately have like first impression, like you're fucking annoying. I hate you.
Mhm.
But they were forced to work together, like they had no other option. Um, but they really did find like a deep friendship through that.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and I just, like I don't know why, but I really love movies where it's like women bonding in a male profession, Like, even,
Hmm.
like, Grey's Anatomy is a great example, right? Like, that's
Yeah.
still more of a male profession than a female profession, so
Hmm.
I guess that wasn't a good example because Grey's Anatomy has fucking great examples of strong women and, different racial backgrounds, and
Hmm.
maybe that's not the correct thing, but I'm just saying that, like, I like movies where it's 2 women in a man's profession having to, like, deal with it, but also bonding over it. Because 'Cause isn't it sad that, like, the default for women is that they, like, immediately hate each other when they meet each other? Like,
Yeah.
it sucks.
Well, and also this movie did a really good job. Have you heard of I'm probably going to pronounce it wrong, the Bechtel test?
No. Oh.
So it's basically where you have at least two women in a scene where they talk about something other than a man.
Oh, yeah, I think we talked about this on an
Yeah,
episode, maybe? Maybe not, I don't remember.
maybe. But like obviously the only time that they really ever talk about a man in their scenes is like when the other FBI agents there or like Ashburn brings up her ex-husband. Um, but most of the time, like they're talking about the case or they're bickering about like how fucking like Ashburn dresses herself or something.
Yeah. Yes, I hate that when it's, like, 2 women and all they fucking do is talk about the guys in their life. I understand some movies are supposed to be like that, and that's fine, but, like,
Yeah.
I would like to think that women have more to talk about than their, like, relationships
Hmm.
with dudes or their lack of them, right? So,
Yeah, exactly. So
the these guys talk
I
about their family and work, and
mhm.
that's more important.
Yeah, exactly. And even for like how misogynistic and sexist all the men were in their life, they didn't spend time like fussing about it.
Mhm. Yeah,
And
they
they
never.
even go ahead.
What?
I was just gonna say, even at the bar, they point out like they're not supposed to talk about how hard it is to be a woman in the workforce, but Ashburn's like, I need to just fucking say it.
Yeah, and I like that that's honestly the only time they even talk about it. Like,
Hmm.
it's an underlying issue that's very clear from the very beginning of the movie, but it's not something that's, like, necessarily talked about as much, it's just more shown
Yeah.
and showing how they deal with that, so I like
Yeah.
that.
Exactly. Yeah. So this was really good movie. What would you rate the friendship?
Oh god, um, that's hard because, like, this is a movie where they have to, like, actually rely on each other to save their lives, so I feel like the stakes are automatically higher and it's gotta be like an 8 or a 9, you know?
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, there's so much of the movie spent where they still, like, are just starting to know each other and are hating each other still, so I don't know, I'd say by the end, maybe like an 8 or 9.
Yeah, I feel like you said, it's definitely high up there, but then we have to take into account that like there's a lot at stake
Mhm.
because of what the
Big
circumstances are.
Yeah.
Um, but I feel like they definitely earned this friendship and they really do care about each other because they could have easily just done the case and walked away from it and like not changed at
Yeah.
all.
Exactly, yeah, I feel like most of those kind of situations, I'm obviously not a police officer and have never been anywhere close to that, but I feel like in those kind of work situations where it's like one case and then you're done, I don't necessarily feel like they would keep their connection and keep in touch. Just like when you work on movie projects or TV
Hmm.
projects, like you don't necessarily keep in touch with all the people that you meet on those sets and have a connection within the moment. That doesn't mean
Hmm.
you're gonna be best friends afterwards. That means you might see each other here and there. But these guys are clearly connected more by the end.
Yeah, and I think that they also kind of like they went the extra step to be connected. Like Ashburn kept finding ways to connect with her, and Mullins didn't have to bring her to like her parents' house and show like her family and all this. And she kept offering her food when she came over.
The same sandwich.
Yeah,
Yes.
but she just was like, I just feel like I need to feed you. I don't know. And she like went out of her way to like the fact that she came over to make fun of her and like talk about how pathetic her life was to get back at her for the shit she said about her brother. Like
Yeah.
you have to care about someone and what they think of you a lot to go out of your way to like make them feel crappy.
And she even like dug through her 4 boxes of her whole life. So
Mhm.
I mean
Yeah,
that's
like
interest right there.
that's why it's like frenemies are so funny because they obviously like do care about each other for how much like they go out of their way to be vindictive to each other.
Yeah.
Um
Very,
when you don't do anything to retaliate, that means like you really don't care.
that is very true. I
Yeah.
agree with that entirely.
Yeah. So this is a
You don't wanna
good
waste your time with them anymore.
yeah, you're just like I don't care. Like I'm moving on.
Yeah.
And you just yeah.
Don't waste your
Uh
brain space, don't waste your time.
yeah, so this was a cute friendship. I really like this movie. Obviously except for that one hiccup that I have, which
Yeah.
yeah. And I just think it's funny like where did the scissors come from? It's a good assumption she has like a artillery belt on her cuz like
Yeah.
look at her fucking fridge. But
Yeah, I know.
yeah.
I didn't even notice. I think I was, making my breakfast when that scene happened because I don't even remember scissors, so
I was
fail.
like where did those come from? You're in a bathroom, but there's where did they come from?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, even when I was watching this, they did a really good job in this movie also of like showing and not telling who these people were.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's a good point. It
But
is good writing. I mean,
yeah.
for the genre that it is, it's obviously no award winner, but, like, it was
Hmm.
good writing for, like, a buddy comedy. And for
Yeah.
female leads, I mean, how as much as I love that there are more movies where women are leads, there still are not nearly as many female leads in an action movie, also
Let
comedy, right?
and letting them be women.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, you wanna, like, compare, there's, like, this many about women and, like, this many about men that, they're, buddies and kicking
Hmm.
ass or whatever, so I think for the genre that it is, it's good.
Yeah, exactly. And like it doesn't need to be award winning. And I feel like every time there's like a female version of a movie that comes out, if it's not award winning, like a lot of people shit on it. Like so many people are upset about Ghostbusters, and it's like, look, that first movie wasn't even that good. You think it was good because your nostalgia's attached to it.
Yeah.
And to shit on the remake, like you're clearly just shitting on it because it's not with your original male cast. Like I thought that movie was cute. And yeah, it has a few like script issues, but so do a lot of action films with guys.
Yeah, I didn't even see the female Ghostbusters, but people, like, were shitting on it before it was even made, and
hmm
that's the thing. I feel like if you're really gonna shit on a movie, you better fucking see it and have something to say about it before you
But
bitch about it.
also like look at the category that it's in, and like if you're comparing it to other movies where like these other films are just meant to be entertainment and kind of mediocre, like you can't be mad at it expecting it to be this like amazing thing.
Well, yeah, and I mean, especially with something like Ghostbusters where it was an all-male cast, like, at least they're doing something more exciting than just remaking it with
hmm
just, like, people
With
from today, right? At least they're trying
yeah,
to do a different take on it, and yes, they are running out of stories in Hollywood, I will agree with that, but, I mean, at
yeah.
least they're trying something different, right? And, like,
hmm
using women that are hilarious in this time
hmm
frame, and, you know, as I said, I haven't seen it, so I can't bitch about
Yeah.
it. Well, so,
They objectify Chris Hemsworth in it, and it's wonderful.
and that's funny, see, because he
Yeah.
played along with it, and he knows that that is
Mhm.
what women do with him, so he's
Mhm.
accepting it, and it's funny.
Yeah, and that's also good comedy, like, by putting a twist on something. We always objectify the woman, why not objectify the guy for once?
Yeah, hell
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm. So we are doing our boy versus girls episode,
Which
which
makes no sense, by the way, that we call it that, but it's more just like, can men and women be friends?
yeah, so we'll create a better title for it for you guys.
And we're
Um,
basically comparing a couple choice movies where men and women are friends and is a
mhm.
real thing that can happen.
Yes, like we have a couple movies, like you said, planned for it, and then also whatever other friendships that we just know really well that we want to discuss. Like I know that I'm probably going to talk about Alex Krev and Meredith Grey because that's one of my favorite opposite sex friendships.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I have
um,
no idea what I'm going to talk about,
it's
so.
totally fine. But yeah, so get excited for that episode, and then we are going to have a massive 3-part. Oh, wait, didn't we
Oh,
discuss maybe making the boys versus girls into a 2-part since we ixnayed that other episode?
no, I thought we were just doing Harry Potter in 2 parts.
Oh, and so we were just gonna have 9 episodes?
No, I thought it all evened out to 10. I don't know, I could be wrong.
No,
Just
because remember, we'll talk about it off air. But, so it'll be that, and then we have a big, just to get you guys excited for the rest of the season, we're gonna do a big two-parter on Harry Potter, the Golden Trio.
Harry Potter, books and movies, bitches, books and movies.
Yeah, we're going
Spending a
deep in
lot
it
of time
all. Which is why it's gonna be a two-part episode, and we're just doing Harry, Ron, and Hermione because anything else would be so much more work, and we put it to the end of the season because, again, lots of books and lots of movies to get through, which is also why the majority of this season was mostly movies because it's really hard to get through shows on time unless we've seen the show, but even then, like, trying to review it is a
yeah.
lot.
Yeah, 'cause we only
Yeah.
did, what, 2 shows this season, I
Yeah, we
think?
did Handmaid's Tale, which we had plenty of time to do because it was our new
First.
season. And then we did Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, but, like, luckily there's only 3 seasons and it's pretty straightforward, and I watched it ahead of time, so, like, I didn't need to rewatch it. Luckily, like, the internet does catch up episodes on YouTube. Otherwise, yeah, that's it. Those are the only, like, TV episodes we did.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Alright, well,
Yeah,
very
so
exciting.
mhm. So get excited, kids. Get your coffee, get your wine, all that stuff.
Yep,
And thanks for tuning in. And hopefully the audio was better on this episode. I apologize for Mean Girls, but we are in quarantine and we're doing our best to keep going,
that's right. Gotta chug on, kids.
technically and emotionally. So you know, stay safe, wash your hands, and be nice to each other. and
Don't
drink all the coffee you want.
Yeah, don't
Don't
stick your fingers in your mouth.
don't do that. Unless they're washed, then you can go crazy. Yeah.
Oh god.
All right.
Alright.
Bye, guys. Thanks for
Bye.
listening. We'll see you soon.
She's my friend because we know what it's like for people to be jealous of us.
It's so nice when you can sit with someone and not have to talk. You and I are a team. Nothing is more important than our friendship. Thank you for listening to the Best Friends Playbook podcast. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
You can also email us episode suggestions at bestfriendsplaybook@gmail.com. And if you could please leave us a review on iTunes, it helps us greatly to grow our podcast.